The Morgan Thomas Show.
Are you ready? I said, are you ready for the final show of 2021? We are ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm game.
Thank you so much for coming in and being a part of the show. I know there is a Music City Bowl going on right now with like 2 minutes to go. I understand that is probably more important. 45-38 now.
Yeah,
so it was tied before, as the show was loading. It was tied. Now, not so tied. But it's always good to see the SEC struggling to win games, considering they're the best conference in the world. But we welcome you in. There's about 21 people in right now. This is the Morgan Thomas Show. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We are typically live on 105.5 and 97.5 The Roar, but it's women's basketball season now, and they're going to be playing basketball pretty much every Thursday night until March. So we're going to be filming and recording live from our homes for the foreseeable future. I know a lot of you guys that are hardcore live streamer fans we're actually probably like that compared to what we have had before. So we appreciate you getting in. If you're a fan or a new fan, please get in and hit the like button on Facebook or YouTube. That will help out with the algorithm. And if you're an extra special fan and you want me to give you the doggy eyes, you can share it with a friend, and that would be extra special for me. Joining me alongside me here is two of the greatest co-hosts to ever co-host my show. In the middle, Big Al, Alan Adams, which, by the way, Al, my friend at church said, you're calling yourself Big Al, but that is actually the name of the mascot for Alabama.
If that's true, they stole it from me, without a doubt. Which friend at church? Do I know this friend? Do I need to correct them face to face?
No, but he is an Alabama grad, so.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, he's got his own problems, and I won't worry about that.
And then also joining me tonight is Mr. Houston Burdett on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, just remember, things can always be bad, but at least you're not covered in mayo.
Yeah, after a win, no less.
Yeah, hang the banner for that one.
Although somebody asked Dabo Swinney how he was doing, and he said, I got a bunch of Cheetos or Cheez-Its down my back. I'm sure that doesn't feel any better than mayo.
Yeah, I can take Buffalo Cheez-Its down. Buffalo Cheez-Its don't smell like mayo.
I'm pretty sure that smells disgusting. I'm just looking at Tennessee, Purdue now. I don't have it above me like Houston does. Remember Houston when you started the stream and you kept looking up at the Atlanta Braves game or something?
Yeah, maybe I should move it.
And it does look like that Tennessee has now scored. I just literally came on the show and said that they were down by 7. And within however many minutes we've been streaming this show, they have scored again. All right. So it's back and forth over there. And, we'll just have to keep you updated. I'll have to move it on YouTube TV on my computer screen. So, but again, thank you so much for joining in and being a part of the show. We got a ton of people in the comments. Let's go ahead and give our shout outs to those of you who have been amazing enough to get in the comments already. This is our post Iowa State game reaction show. Al, I was thinking, what if we played the 5-6 minute highlight video of the Cheez-It Bowl?
What's wrong with that?
I mean, if they kick us off this live stream, they kick us off the live stream, right? I mean, who cares? They can't care about it near as much as the Whitney Houston song that I got kicked off on, So we're going to try it, fellas. We're going to try it. What we're going to do is we're going to do like a reaction. So if there's something you want to say while we're going through the highlight video, you guys can pipe in and say something and we'll get through it. But let's go ahead and give introductions. We're not going to answer questions yet, just introductions here. So Edward Shumpert, welcome in. Golf clap, Edward Shumpert. Thank you for getting in. You're the number one person into the show tonight. Beating out Bill Lanham, and also Bill and Ed beat out Kevron? Where is Kevron at tonight?
I was very worried about Kevron there for a minute. I saw him pop up
I
later.
see him now.
Yeah.
The nerdy athlete gets in. How about a 10-win season? I said I wasn't going to read the comments, but I just did. So let me go back through. We will read the comments, but I'm just introductions right now. John Chansey, Todd Teal, Cal Maddox, John Sullivan, I guess. Is that how you say it? John Sarian. And John at the end says, mayo's better for your complexion. So, all right, Big Al, Houston. It's the day after the Cheez-It Bowl. A lot of things to talk about. We know that there is the offense and defense, new coordinators. Now, here's my first question: is Wesley Goodwin the co-defensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator? Because Mark Childress, our buddy, said that he was told he is the defensive coordinator. But then when you look on co-defensive coordinator, so Mark said on his tailgate show, co-defensive coordinator, he got called from people saying, you're wrong, dude. He's the defensive coordinator. Then on ESPN, it says co-defensive coordinator. Which is it?
It's co. He's co-defensive coordinator with Mickey Kahn. Mickey Kahn is up in the booth. Wes Goodwin is calling plays on the field. Whereas I guess you would say this is similar to what the initial Jeff Scott, Tony Elliott situation and what the Kyle Richardson / Brandon situation will be in the future. That's what it'll be. But yeah, it's co-defensive coordinator.
But he is calling the shots on the field.
That's true.
So then that's an important distinction to make. It's not like they're both up there figuring things out. Wes has got control of the defense. It's his baby.
That is true.
Okay. Well, I didn't see much on Mickey Kahn, but I did see them showing up in the booth, and I saw Brandon Streeter in the booth, and then I also saw Kyle Richardson, it looked like, next to him. The person that I didn't see was Cole 3-and-out Stout, which was typically next to Tony Elliott. So I don't know where Cole Stout was at. I just didn't see him in the box. Did you guys notice that too?
I mean, I didn't really pay attention to that one. I was just looking at who was on the field and how things were shaking out and everything like that.
All right. Well, I've got the Cheez-It Bowl highlights pulled up. We're going to try this, fellas. We're going to really try this. We're going to see how it goes. If we get kicked off, all right, this is my disclaimer. If we get this kicked off, then what we'll do is we'll just start the stream back up like we always do. What do you guys like? You guys like this view, or this view? Which one do you like?
Let's go with that one.
That one? All right, here we go. All right, so this is the start of games, about 10 minutes. This is the highlight clips from ESPN. So this is on their YouTube. We're just watching it here. We are commenting and giving our reaction in a fair use situation, if you will, Houston, if you will, Allen. All right, so we got DJ here starting us off. Good little outside pass to Dakari. I felt like Dakari Collins did good this game. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I
agree. So. Yeah, Collins had probably his best game of the year, and DJ had a great first half. I'll say of this game, probably one of his better halves that he's played all season in the first half.
Big third down catch there from Will Sweeney. It's interesting seeing number 7 as Kobe Pace now. And you know what? I was really excited to see the 2 running back sets that they came out with at the beginning. Now, I was very frustrated that they seemed to stop using it after they started using it. But here is a big play from Will Shipley in the flats. This is, I still believe, the first series, right? And they've kind of chewed up.
Got to be.
Yeah.
They kind of chewed up the ball here. Now they're getting into field goal range. Some more. Clemson had the game plan, I think, of running the ball primarily. Would you guys agree?
Oh, yeah. And that's been the case for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Now, this is an interesting formation there. That was a pistol formation with Pace to his right side and then Shipley behind him. I haven't seen that all year either.
That's something you want to see. When you want to get creative in the run game, when that's what you got and they know it's coming, you got to get creative. That was one of the nice wrinkles that I thought Streeter put in there.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of Coastal Carolina concepts. As far as those 2 back sets. So that's why I think I like what what they were doing there. I know the 3rd and goal was a little conservative there on that one, but I don't hate it. I understand why they're dropping a lot of guys and they don't want to throw an interception in the end zone.
McDonald, a big talent there for Iowa State. I was very disappointed when they were in the red zone. They did not seem to actually throw it in the end zone. I don't remember any balls being even attempted to go in the end zone when they were in the red zone. I think they were in the red zone like 3 times at least. And it was just very frustrating for me, at least from that standpoint.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
I know that there's that, but I mean, I don't blame them. Like you haven't been able to really throw the ball much downfield at all, and a lot of the completions, several completions as you see there, were. I mean, they're tight windows. They're not necessarily the safest throws, even for simple throws for DJ. So you're just trying to.
I thought that right there was a good read where he checked down to Dakari on the left side.
Yeah.
There's a big run play from Iowa State. The defense pretty much held them in check. You know, this is still where they had Skalski in the game, and then Skalski ends up hurting himself later on.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big play
catch.
Here.
Great throw and catch.
You know, I think this is Hutchinson. This is their best wide receiver. So, you know, he's going to get open no matter what. I mean, eventually, that was a great move right there on one of our best cornerbacks. It's crazy to say, but Mario Goodrich, the eventual MVP of the game. Which, by the way, he got a wrestling belt, a Cheez-It wrestling belt for his MVP. And I thought that was probably the greatest trophy you could get.
Yeah, and you got it from what is Lord Prince Chedward handing that out.
Here's number 13, the guy that I only know by the guy who punched Andrew Booth. They're showing a good little bit. Oh, man, looked like it was almost tipped there, but it was good catch and run across the middle of the field. Here's a long one from B.T. Potter. I think this was 51 yards, and this one was right down the middle, and this one gave him, I think, the record or something. I think Bill Lanham probably knows, or you guys might know. This gave him some sort of record for 50-yard field goals, I think.
I did not know that, actually.
No. Wasn't looking at that one.
It seemed like it took Clemson quite some time to get pressure on Brock Purdy. Do you feel like that Wesley Goodwin was more conservative than Brent Venables would have been?
It's hard to say. I think there's certain things that they were. Brock Purdy's a good quarterback, and they probably weren't looking to get. He's a good scrambler as well, so they had to account for that as well.
Another big run from Kobe Pace, keeps his balance and gets a big chunk there. You got to be excited from what you're seeing from the running back group. I know we mentioned this middle of the season, but looking back, this team turned into a terror in the running game. They could be one of the best running teams in the nation next year. DJ with a good little sidestep and sidearm throw. One of his rare, I would say rare throws, because it seemed like they didn't really give him much many long throws is what I'm trying to say. And that still was only about 15 yards. Looks like he takes a sack here, but this is the one where it was the jump ball to. This was complete luck. Complete luck.
Yeah, I know. Do you see why I'm saying they don't really throw to the end zone because of that? And they got lucky on that one.
But that's the kind of receivers we used to have, and we used to have guys that could do that, and there was no risk of doing it because you knew Mike Williams or DeAndre Hopkins or whoever was going to go up and catch it. It didn't matter if there were one or two guys there, and that's why I wish they would take a few more shots and kind of let those receivers develop into the alpha guys. That's kind of what we're looking for. I wish we had one of those right now. We certainly need one.
You got to think Dakari Collins can do that, and Bo just showed that. And this right here was a great play. Can you really say anything more about that? The entire defense was fooled. I thought it was a great play.
Mm-hmm.
A great, look at this. Wide receiver blocking, edge blocking to the opposite side of the motion there. Putnam getting in, completely fooling the safety all the way into the end zone. Just look at him. He even slows up. He just kind of walks in.
Yeah, the wide receiver blocking is something that improved vastly throughout the year, especially when we got the younger guys, Bo and Dakari in there, and Brenningstool as well. But those guys were just awesome at the end
And
of the year.
Here is the fluke batted ball pick 6.
I'll take it.
What a play.
Every day.
I mean, I don't think have you ever seen anything like that? Chat, have you ever seen anything like a batted ball pick? And it almost, if you really look at this replay, it looks like Brock Purdy is trying to bat it to a wide receiver. It almost didn't really look like he was trying to throw it on the ground. It looked like he was trying to hit it to someone.
Well, he did.
Well, yeah, he definitely did. Here's some more 2 running back sets with Phil Maffa, but just a terrible decision by DJ there. He's off balance. He's going to the left. I hate when they do this. They call the rollout to the left side. Trevor Lawrence could do it. DJ can't do it. That
one got tipped, though. Am I right?
It did get it. It did get tipped, but
I
still,
wouldn't say the decision was terrible necessarily. It's just
it was just I don't like that they put him in that situation, I guess, is what I'm more frustrated with.
I mean, even with the situation, though, you could have just eaten that pass. That's on the quarterback. That's not on the play call.
I tend to agree with that. And hey, I'm the one that I think defends DJ more than anybody for sure. But you got to make something happen. I mean, he improvised a couple of times in that game, and I mean, a couple times he did great. We just saw one of those passes over the middle where he made that work. He had one that should have worked to Will Shipley, and he completely botched the play over the middle. I still can't believe he dropped that pass.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it's kind of one of those 50-50 things. I think he made about as many plays as he missed.
So here's a field goal from Iowa State. Or was that Clemson? I think it was Clemson. Or no, Iowa State, yeah. Brock Purdy gets to the outside. Bill Lanham gets in, says, Sylvester says our stream has been suspended on YouTube. Let's go ahead and unsuspend it. We'll let our YouTube friends help us out here. We did it as long as we could go, right? All right, so let's see if we can get back into where we were at. Let's see if YouTube will allow us back in. Or do you think I have to restart it?
Said policy violations on YouTube.
Your streams are interrupted. Okay, so it says it'll automatically re-enable the stream. So we'll see. If you're over on YouTube, let me know. Give us a shout. We had to try it, right? I mean, we had to try it, right? I'm not getting any response.
I mean, okay, yeah.
I'm not getting any response from you guys, so
Look, you were going to try it regardless of what we
didn't have to try.
I don't think it really matters.
Yeah,
you always have to try stuff until they tell you it's not good.
You're a habitual line stepper. That's
all right. So I'm seeing the stream is suspended. We got 5 people waiting in. Let me get in the chat and say all right, yeah, Bill Lanham, Morgan fumbled the stream kind of like Purdy on his last play. Wow. Oh man, I wish we could have gotten to that, to be honest with you. But Facebook doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, that was a really cool play. An interesting way to end it for sure.
Yeah. No, either way, shout out to Mario Goodrich. I mean, talk about a comeback, way better performer than we all expected this season, and he arguably saved his best game for last. And so he absolutely deserved the MVP, and he absolutely deserves to go ahead and make that step to the NFL next year.
Yeah, it was certainly something that caught me by surprise, him leaving. But I will say not so fast, because if you listen to the Morgan Thomas show any in the past, I said Mario Goodrich was going to be your starter, thought he was going to have a great season, and yet he turned it on in a big way. I didn't expect him to have quite as good a season as he did, mind you, but and certainly not one where I thought he was going to leave early for the NFL. But very, very happy for the young man, and man, he went out with a bang, no doubt.
All right, so we are back on YouTube. I can confirm. I'm seeing it here now. We are back. So, for what it's worth, we had to give it a try. So we're back in. Let's go back through the box score here. We'll talk about the offense and then the defense. All right, fellas. So Speaking on the box score, we'll start out with the man of the hour, DJ Uiagalelei, 21 for 32, 187 yards, 5.8 yards averaged, and 1 interception, no touchdowns. Now, this is a controversial topic because some people don't want you to say anything negative about DJ.
Right.
And it's not my job to hold in my thoughts. We have a show about our thoughts, and to say, well, you can't be a Clemson fan and be negative, or if you're a Clemson fan, you should be positive. I think you should be positive just in general as a person, right? But I'm sorry, I got ESPN is going through my ear. Okay, all right. So what I'm saying is, I think that you have to be realistic. I think there's a lot of times where you come into things and you say, well, let's not beat him up, or he watches Morgan's show. Morgan shouldn't beat him up. And I really don't want to beat him up, but I have to be honest and say it seemed like this is the 13th game of the season, fellas. The 13th game. How many games are we going to continue to say, well, he's going to get it all together? He's going to figure it out. Do we seriously feel like we've said it for 12 games? Well, he'll figure it out. He'll get it together. He'll have that breakout game. They're going to have it. It's going to happen. I mean, I don't feel any different. I don't feel any different about DJ after that game than I do any of the other games. I mean, I feel like he still has a very long way to go. And a lot of people say, well, Morgan, you should encourage him. I'm encouraging him to get better because at an elite level program, I mean, he came in with over 10,000 yards passing, over 150 touchdowns, only 11 recorded interceptions in high school. And this is it. I mean, he's not – CJ Stroud's done better than him. Bryce Young's done better than him. I guess you could technically maybe say JT Daniels in some way did better than him. I don't know. But – out of the guys that came from California, he is struggling a lot more than everybody else. So yeah. Do we give him the spring and next year and hope? My hope is this on the positive. I hope that someone comes in. Obviously, Tyson did not give him a challenge. Trevor Lawrence gave him a challenge and he rose to the occasion. Hopefully, Cade Klubnik comes in and challenges him so much that he rises back to that level that we remember him as. Because honestly, if as a DJ fan, I really don't want to remember this season for him.
Which is fair. Honestly, the things that I keep going back to with DJ is, look, I know the ability's there, and y'all know it's there. We've seen it. Okay, he came in as a freshman and threw all over Notre Dame on the road in a huge environment in a big game. We saw it. We saw him play well against BC at home. All right, it's not like he hasn't done it before. Did he do it at all this season? No, he didn't. Not at all. Now, I have been critical of a lot of things on offense this season, as I think most Clemson fans have. But to me, it's not just DJ. Okay, and we've talked about that this year. There have been times where the O-line has been a disaster. They didn't gel together till the very end mostly because of injury, and that's fair. This whole season, the wide receiving core was a disaster. They couldn't block anybody. Didn't even know who to block. So, I mean, they weren't doing their part. They weren't catching a lot of passes. They weren't getting any separation. They weren't doing their part. We had a bunch of injuries there. The play calling I've been critical of all year. And DJ, again, has not had, his greatest year either. We understand that. We saw his shortcomings this year. It was not very accurate. Some bad decisions and everything like that. But every single week I was trying to debate what was worse. Was it the offensive line? Was it the receivers? Was it DJ? Was it the play calling? And almost every week it seemed to be something different for me. Like I would have to change a hierarchy of which one was worse. So there was a whole lot of things wrapped up into one, in my opinion. I think when you get an offensive line that's going to, stay healthy maybe, or a receiver core that he's able to work with, and he knows that those are my three guys consistently, I think you're going to be able to see a little bit different DJ. I certainly hope so. And you think at the end of the year, we had some consistency. We had a run game. Offensive line was better. The receivers were more consistent because everybody else was injured. We had no choice but to have Dakari and Bo out there. I think once they all were ready to rock and roll, then DJ had his knee issues or his PCL issue, whatever, and he had his thumb taped up or whatever. It was just, I don't know who to blame it on. All I am telling you is we have seen it from DJ. There is no reason to believe that he can't get back there. Now, will he? That's the big question mark. And I think what y'all mentioned earlier is, Klubnik coming in, can he push him to be that guy, to be freshman DJ again? Sure. And we'll see how that works out. Now, I don't think there's, any necessarily miracle cure or anything like that, but I'm certainly not giving up on the guy. I think he still got it, and I'd be stupid not to, in my opinion.
Yeah, to me, both things can be true at one time. I think for Allen's point, everything's kind of gone wrong at multiple positions. I think with the O-line, getting a healthy O-line, especially with some critical players like Pennington, or getting someone like Tristan Lee in the mix next year, or Lithicum even, those types of things are going to be huge boosts for the running game, for protection on DJ. I think getting a wide receiving core that can build up a little more trust. Something that someone pointed out to me last night is DJ is throwing his balls as soon as the wide receivers make their breaks. Deshaun and Trevor were throwing before breaks were even happening because they knew where they were going. It's a trust issue. So take that as you will. It could be a wide receiver, could be a DJ thing on that. But the wide receiving core getting better. I think here's the other thing nobody's talking about this. You're going to get wide receivers pushing wide receivers in this next class with Antonio Williams and Adam Randall. Those cats can play, and they want to play early. And so if you get somebody like Antonio Williams out there who's going to push people, we'll see. I think you can get better. The thing about DJ is, can he be DJ? Like we saw, like Alan was saying in 2020. Because if he is, awesome. But at the same time, to Morgan's point is, he has not been that this year. And I don't know what it is. Somebody in the chat pointed out it could be maybe he was injured more than what we saw, which could happen. Maybe there's something in his personal life going on that we have not accounted for that's making this, go somewhere else. That's happened to a lot of players too. He's got the yips, and maybe it's something that he can work out of. And if he can get out of that, then maybe. But at the same time, this time around, if I have something tangible to see in the spring where he's still sputtering and Cade Klubnik comes in and just lights it up and looks great, I mean, the writing's on the wall there. I want DJ to be good the same way. I want him to be successful. I want him to look good. But at the same time, if he goes out there and, throws the same numbers and doesn't produce at all, and Cade does, you're in a bit of a pickle.
I mean, at the end of the day, when we look back, and to people who would want to say, well, you need to be supportive, you need to let him, he's going to work it out. You need to hope he's going to work it out. You guys weren't saying that about Cole Stout. Show me the tweet. Play me the replay on the radio when you called in and said, we need to give Cole Stout a chance. For you older gentlemen out there, maybe our age or older, you weren't calling into the radio station or getting on Twitter talking about, well, Twitter probably wasn't around really back then, but Will Proctor should give more time and have a chance. So come on. You know what it is. You want an elite level program. It starts and ends with the quarterback. You want a quarterback that can throw guys open. You want a quarterback that can make plays. You want a quarterback that you can rely on in difficult situations. And until you have that, it's going to look more like this. Now, thankfully, the rest of the team is so talented that they won 10 games this season, and the defense is so good. But you cannot sustain in today's college football of trying to get to the playoffs a quarterback that regularly finishes games with 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. You just can't keep doing that.
But let me play devil's advocate real quick, though. All right. He threw 9 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. If he throws 15 touchdowns, which is not a great number, Clemson's undefeated this year. That's the truth. If he throws 15 touchdowns, Clemson's playing Friday night. Let's be real. And I mean, it's not great numbers, but I know that you want to say it starts and ends with a quarterback. That is far from the truth. Pat Mahomes is a number 1 draft pick. He was on a garbage team. It starts and ends with your offensive and defensive lines and then from there you build out. The quarterback is the cherry on top. Okay, Dabo was able to build offensive line play from under the radar projects. He was able to build a great defensive line, and then he was able to sign Deshaun from there, along with talented playmakers like Artavis Scott and Mike Williams, and Todd Boyd on top of that.
I will agree with you on defensive line that they did build it up with defensive line. I can't honestly say that Clemson's ever had an offensive line that I would write home about. I really can't. I mean, I feel like that Deshaun did better, and Trevor has done better with maybe the same or worse. I don't know. This offensive line is pretty bad, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some chat here. We got about 40 people watching, only about 6 likes. So make sure you hit the like button if you are back in after we got suspended for a second, just for a few moments for my attempt. But make sure you hit the like button and get into the comments as well. We're going to stop chatting. We're going to start talking here and answering questions. Edward Shumpert off the top here. Do y'all think Wes Goodwin will be a good recruiter when it comes to 4- and 5-star players? Do you see us picking up anyone before or in February signing period? Al, I'll give you that recruiting answer. I'll answer the Wes Goodwin answer saying that the players love him. So if the players have already came out and supported him and seem to love him, I think he could obviously win with more, because you want to get the player on campus, and then the players that are already on campus will also brag about him and how awesome he is. And, the recruit will say, so is this Wes Goodwin, man? He's kind of goofy looking, regular old 37-year-old dude. And the other players that are there are going to be like, nah, dude, he is the legit boss at defense. You want to play for him. And that'll be it. That if I was a recruit, that's probably what will happen. But Al, what do you see coming up for Clemson? Is there a bright future for this 2022 class?
Well, look, I mean, Clemson's kind of, behind the 8 ball here with this class. We've talked about this before. I don't know if we ever got into it on the show or not. We meant to. I know several times. I'm just not sure if we ever made it there. One of those Morgan rants, I would imagine, precluded us from doing that, but you know how that goes. It's going to be interesting to see. There's going to be some new names pop up, after this bowl season, coming on into January. There's going to be new names that resurface, and whether it's somebody Clemson's been involved with in the past or whether it's somebody new, there's going to be all kind of stuff that's going to happen and some movement, whether it be the transfer portal or whatever. But I certainly hope Clemson can find some guys on defense. I've kind of stressed that defensive end is something that really, really concerns me. The fact that we haven't had a defensive tackle in now 2 classes, if we don't land anybody right now, it's going to be rough for the future unless we're really, going to depend on hammering the portal, which is something that obviously we're not really prone to do. They're going to have to change up their philosophy a little bit and see what we can get. But there's going to be some new names surface, so I won't hit the panic button until we see who we sign for sure at the end of February. But as of right now, I don't have any names to throw out there, really.
Bill Lanham gets in, says, still feeling cheesy tonight. Way to win, Tigers. Definitely. I mean, you cannot understate the importance of winning the 11th straight 10 win, having 11 straight 10 win seasons. I mean, that is amazing in itself. There's only 3 other teams that have done that or more, and that's Alabama, Florida State, and Clemson. That is some great, great company there. And to be able to go into recruiting season, the final recruiting season for next year, and be able to state those things like that is a big deal, I think. Todd Teal says, happy to see our defense still playing like Clemson defense. Houston, I would agree with this. It doesn't seem like, this is why you hire internally guys that you've developed so you can keep doing what you've been doing, right?
Yeah, I think I know a few people were perturbed by some of the Wes Goodwin's mannerisms and how he's a quieter guy. And I'm like, that could actually be a good thing. Sometimes when you're going to change, you don't want to copycat what you did last time. Have somebody who has their own spin. And Wes Goodwin looks like a guy, even though he's different in every mannerism than Brent Venables, he understands the games, he understands the players, he knows what they're good at and what weaknesses and what strengths the offense has. And if you're good at your job and you're good with players, you're going to be fine with Clemson. And if he's able to do that, I think Clemson will be just fine.
John Chansey gets in and says, how quickly do you plan to add Klubnik to the opening video? Well, the opening video, I have to use Adobe After Effects, and it is extremely difficult. I have a gaming computer, as you guys know. I play my flight simulator game, but doing anything Adobe After Effects takes quite some time. So we'll see, John. We'll see. But it does take. It's probably like a 3-hour render for that thing, and I just don't have time.
Let's not pretend you don't have the time.
Maybe I do.
Yeah, maybe you do.
Maybe I do. Todd Teal says, "I'm ready." Oh yeah, he is ready. He gets my intro. Thank you, Todd. Thank you. Cal Maddox says B. I wonder what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Cal, so cryptic there. We don't know. Bill Lanham says Beamer with Duke's mayo on his head is just the beginning of a chicken salad.
I mean, he was holding he held the chicken in his hands. He picked up the chicken during the trophy ceremony. I mean, it's hang the natty, man. Hang the banner. They're singing Kumbaya down there tonight.
Oh man, that was a good one, Bill. Bill knows his food recipes. If anybody. Kevron says, I had too many Cheez-Its for the game. You know what's crazy? I went over to watch the game with Mark Childress and his family. They didn't have any Cheez-Its.
Yeah. They didn't have any Cheez-Its either.
Houston, did you eat any Cheez-Its?
I did not last night, but I do have 3 boxes. I was finishing up.
Just want to let everybody know that I got 3 boxes of Cheez-Its in case you're questioning my fandom.
Hey, look, when you see the players, I was telling my wife this last night. When you saw the players just jumping into the bin of Cheez-Its and getting out 5 and 6 boxes, I'm like, that's not bad, man. Like, outside of maybe going to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, like getting 6 boxes of like cheddar cheese, buffalo, hot Cheez-Its, that's a pretty solid haul, man. I ain't gonna lie.
John says, my dog just howled at that image. Hopefully he's howling at how good our show is. Edward Shumpert says, Morgan, don't do the doggy eyes no more. Sorry. Please like our stream. Please like it. We need you to like it for the algorithm. Please. All right, Bill gets in. Former VT quarterback Hendon Hooker has thrown for almost 400 yards against the Vols tonight. 400 yards. I mean, it must be more now. Where are they at now? They're still 45 in overtime. Wow. All right. John Sarian says, I like this format better. Guys, I know you guys like this format better too, but we do appreciate being on the Roar, and the radio is always a good time and fun. And, you know, it's one thing to say you're old, slimy YouTuber, but to say you're on the radio, people actually think that you know what you're talking about at that point. We might not have the viewers fooled, but I at least have my mom fooled. John says mayo might be better for your complexion. We won't talk about complexion. Yes. Bill Lanham, Wes is more. I'm seeing that more on Twitter. Wes is more. That's a good one. Hey, Houston, T-shirt idea right there. T-shirt idea.
I would rather have Wild West. That's my favorite one.
Mom gets in, says mayo is good for your hair. Rub it in. Mom is watching. Hey, you know what? I just made a mom joke. She's watching. John says both Richardson and Streeter were upstairs. Will that be the norm? Well, to be honest with you, I like him and Streeter versus Elliott and Cole 3-and-out stout. Don't shoot me. Don't beat me up for that.
I think they mean, are they all going to be in the booth?
Do you like that? Do you like them in the booth?
Sure. Yeah. Why not? You can see things better from up there. See what's going on. You can diagnose things a little more, coverages and whatnot.
Al, you don't know nothing about that. You're always got the perfect seat. You always got the perfect seat, like 20 rows up. I'm the one that's way up there next above the box and the nosebleeds. I know what that view's like. Al, don't pretend like you know that view.
I'm 80% upper deck. What are you talking about?
Bill Lanham, official ClemsonTigers.com football page, says right now that Wes is DC and Khan is co-DC. So that does answer your question, or so does that answer your question? Probably not. So I guess that's the answer. Todd Teal, I was thinking Khan was the co-DC. But if you're the co-DC, do you have 2 co-DCs? Yeah, or because if one is not a co-DC, wouldn't the other be an assistant DC?
He's the assistant to the DC.
Oh, well, see, if I got hired, I would be the assistant to the DC. Bill gets in, says dabasweeney.com/staff says Wes is the DC, Con is the co-DC. I love that we have fans on here doing the research for us because we don't.
Putting in the work.
John says Dakari had at least another 10 yards in front of him if DJ threw it in front of him. I don't know exactly what he's talking about. Houston?
No, that was early on in the highlight. There was a couple of throws like that, especially early on in the game. We took a deep shot. Clemson took a deep shot early on, and it ended up being a jump ball. You could say, Bo Collins needed to catch it, but if DJ had led him just a little more, it's a walk-in touchdown if he just goes and gets it.
I mean, that's par for the course this season. I mean, I mentioned it to you guys in chat when we were talking. I mean, just being able to throw to where guys are going to be is something I want to see improvement on, not just throwing where they're currently at.
That's true, but it's difficult when they're playing so many in coverage like that. When they've got more players back there, throwing to where they're going to be is a problem at times.
I don't even know why anybody does 3 deep on us, to be honest. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
BT 51-yard field goal was his longest of his career. Wow, I didn't know that, but wow, that's good. Tyree Ross says, "What's going on, fellas?" Chancey says, "I was surprised Purdy made as many mistakes as he did, considering he is very experienced." I mean, I thought that he was going to kind of have a day. He had the weapons. He had a tight end. He had a star wide receiver. The one thing he was missing is their running back, which is pretty huge because, I mean, he's literally one of the best running backs to ever play college football. So, I mean, he was a frequent workhorse of the week pick for us.
Yep. I think we all picked him at one point.
Do you guys feel like that if somebody opts out, they should sit on the sideline?
Nope.
I don't agree with it.
I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, just sitting there watching him talk to his friends and knowing that he opted out, I don't know.
I doubt the players care too much, to be honest with you. So, and
what do the players care about? They want to get sponsored for their freaking Fortnite games. That's what they want.
That's the direction it's going.
John says DJ seems to be a better passer when things break down than when he's got time. Y'all agree?
No.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
No.
Al, we have mentioned in shows earlier about how DJ, it seemed like when he had 6 seconds to throw and he could throw a bomb, he would throw it and it would be amazing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have 6 seconds this year at all. Yes, BT Potter has the most 50-plus yard 3-pointers in any kicker in history. John said YouTube don't like it. I guess that's about the time we got the boot. Stream has been suspended. Yeah, thank you, Sylvester. Bill says Potter has 7 field goals of 50 yards. Gardaki and how do you say that name?
Igwabike.
All right, I'm not even gonna try. I got to practice that. Had 5 in their careers. BT will be back in 2022. So BT is going to add to that, is what Bill is saying. So he's going to be in the record books for quite some time. Sylvester said policy violations. Yeah, we're back though. We know we're back. Absolutely suspended. Let's see. All right, we're catching up. Morgan fumbled that one. Thanks for reminding me, Bill. Thanks for reminding me. Sylvester says, "Poor Purdy. Is he going to? You think he'll be good in the NFL? I mean, you think? I don't necessarily know if he's going to be somebody that could last very long in the NFL. I don't know. Maybe. What do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think he has the arm strength, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'd agree. Doesn't have the arm strength. Doesn't have the size.
Sucks for a senior to go out on his last play of his college career. I guess he's talking about. So Houston, walk us through that one. I mean, that was literally. I mean. I just remember him, his hands on his knees, just in disgust with what has happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those plays where like there's a lot that goes on. Clemson gets a lot of pressure. There was a lot of times last night that Clemson got pressure that I thought Iowa State was going to throw a screen, and it was just we had 4 guys get through and forced him to do that. Well, that was another one of those plays. We had like 3 guys get through. And he was able to squirt through there and get the first down. I was like, dadgummit, he got it. And ironically enough, the same guy that punched Andrew Booth in the face forces him, just because they're meeting in the same path, for him to cut back and it gives Mario Goodrich enough time to come in, peanut punch the ball out. It goes back behind the first down line, and they recover it, which means it is over. They didn't get the first down. It's kind of a bizarre rule, but I'll take it. And that was the final play of the game.
Oh, yes. It's all coming back to me now. I mean, that was another one. So he was involved in, that was two of the involved plays where I don't think I've seen many of those ever happen. The first one was the batted pick six by the quarterback. And then the second one was the getting a first down, fighting for more yards, getting a fumble, picking up your own fumble, but fumbling. But when you recovered it, it was back behind the first down marker to basically end the game. That was pretty saddening for me. I mean, I felt bad for him because I don't necessarily hate Iowa State. I mean, Clemson's never played. That was the first time Clemson had ever played them. So it's not like there's any kind of rivalry or history there or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. One thing I do hate, fellas, and I don't know, I want to get your opinion on this. When the Gamecocks play, when Ohio State plays, I don't tweet about it. I don't complain about it. I don't even, a lot of times, I don't even remember that they were playing. A lot of times I forget that, and then I have to go watch the highlight because I forgot what time they were playing, who they were playing. But it seems like week in and week out, Ohio State fans, Gamecock fans, constantly watching Clemson and complaining about Clemson. I mean, they complained about literally everything all game. I can't remember one time that, one, I watched an entire South Carolina game, and two, that I cared enough to tweet my complaints about the game while watching it. Why do they do this?
Well, I'm not a tweeter anyways, so you're not gonna get me to do that anyways. But I love watching South Carolina play. It's one of my favorite things to do. I will root as hard against them as I root for Clemson. I absolutely love it. I was really irritated. Well, in hindsight, I wasn't, but I was really irritated that I wasn't going to get to see the game today. I was at work, but yeah, I mean, they're the only SEC team that's won a bowl. The only one. Tennessee just got beat by Purdue. If I'm seeing everything right, so, which is fantastic. You know, we love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me is, like, I don't really tweet about Ohio State as much. I know I said something when they lost to Michigan, just like, that's a shame. But with South Carolina, you know, I might occasionally say something. I generally save up anything that I'm going to say until, you know, the last game of the season, in which I went on a Twitter tirade of finding any and every South Carolina fan I could to just, you know, rub their nose in the carpet for the entire time. That's what I generally do. But I did make it a point today that UNC just wants to show off what they're going to be next year, which is 6-6. They are not good. UNC's defense, with all those 4 stars on defense, Cameron Kelly, Storm Duck, Gimmel as the linebacker, and I'll be honest, their defensive effort was worse than what I saw in the 2011 Orange Bowl with Clemson. There was a 3rd and 8 draw. It wasn't even a draw play for South Carolina. South Carolina just lined up for a run on 3rd and 8 and got 15 yards on it. They were just, you know, being carried along. UNC is bad, and they're going to get worse next year because they're losing Sam Howell.
And you know what? I'm not going to complain, but I'm going to cheer that on because they've taken some recruits of Clemson. And I just want to be like, you know what? The Mac Brown train is over before it even started, fellas. You're not going to go anywhere with the Tar Heels. So good luck with that for not picking Clemson. Yeah. Imagine this, Al. What if Cincinnati wins and Michigan wins? What if?
That would be hilarious.
What if South Carolina is the only SEC team to win? What if Penn State wins, okay, and then Iowa wins? Baylor still has a game left. LSU has a game left. But there's a lot of games left. But that could be the best. That could be the best season for South Carolina ever.
They would hang a banner next to the 1969 ACC title.
Only team 2022 SEC Bowl champions.
Yes.
Only team to win a bowl game. And get mayonnaise dumped on our coach. Bill gets in. Allen pulling a Deptula telling us what he said months ago was correct.
That was the Goodrich stuff.
Okay, well, Allen gets in, says it's rare that I'm correct, but it must be pointed out when it happens. Sylvester says, I think if this QB comes in and shows anything inkling of being better, he will get first string. I don't think so. I think that DJ will have to prove DJ will have the starting gig for the first 4 games. I think it'll be a Kelly Bryant situation. Like, you're going to have to prove what you can do for the first couple of games of the season. And by Halloween, there'll be a decision made. Now, if DJ has improved and gotten better and, and shown that he can show how he was when he was a true freshman, then all good, right? If by Halloween it's still not any better, I mean, I don't really know what the schedule is going to look like. I know there's no Georgia on the schedule, so it's not as difficult in that sense. But we'll see. But
at Notre Dame,
they do have to go back to Notre Dame again, right? So, and I think that one's always going to be a difficult game for sure. Sylvester, exactly. I saw someone post, if we had the 90th ranked offense, we would have been undefeated. So Houston, I guess that's going back to your point.
Yes, per usual.
I think DJ is injured much worse than what the coaches are telling. Eric Chapman, Houston, you seem to be nodding on that. You think he's got? I mean, I know he had a finger stent, like on his throwing hand.
I don't know. Remember before the Georgia game when there was all those rumors that Justin Ross had broken his foot and all this, and we all scoffed at it. And then 10 weeks later, you find out he did have a broken foot and he played with it the entire year. Now, I'm not saying that he's got broken bones all over his body or torn ligaments and all that kind of stuff. It could just be that it's all in his head. But something just like you can tell the arm strength is there. You can tell certain things are there, but there's just something like there's something wrong with the engine. Something wrong. There's a check engine light on there, and nobody's said anything about it yet. That's just kind of how I feel.
DJ did not have another QB on the roster who could push him or truly compete with him with Klubnik coming in. He's going to have to step his game up or he will be on the sidelines. Rick Robertson on Facebook said that. Rick, I said the same. I agree with you 110% on that. This is what big boy football is all about. This is really what any sport is all about. Even if I'm not big boy football, high school baseball, high school soccer, if you get out there and you stink it up, you're sitting on the bench. I'm sorry. Like, it's not, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but that is the real world. Like, that's how sports works. Allen, now I didn't have many games where I was off. So he constantly made me the starter. I was constantly the starting point guard. But if I was off, Allen would put me on the bench. Would you not?
Absolutely. Well, of course. Absolutely.
Even if he had to play with 4 players.
Yeah. Much better with 4.
We had an 8-minute drive against Iowa State. The other drive that long was against UConn. That's incredible. Wow, I didn't know that. Sylvester, he could be injured, but we knew when Cole Stout was injured. I don't remember if Cole Stout was injured or not. I think Cole Stout was just bad.
All the above.
Sylvester also gets in, says he agrees with Allen. The offensive line play was gross. Receivers were awful. I guess that was both Allen and Houston's response to my rant a little bit. Only shining light on our offense was running backs. Again, I think I do feel like that's, I mean, that really what else was good on the offense? I mean, the wide receivers, if they weren't constantly injured, they were dropping the balls.
They were. I thought we showed some improvement at tight end.
Yeah, Brian still is going to be really good.
Yeah.
I think him more. Get the ball to Brian still more. I think Bo Collins and Dakari Collins showed flashes, but when you rely on 2 freshman receivers who are meant to grow, these 2 guys aren't Sammy Watkins. That's okay, and that's not me trashing the 2 guys. A lot of times freshman receivers just need a minute to get. T. Higgins needed a second to get going and everything. And these 2 guys are going to be alpha dogs in the future, Dakari and Bo. But to put this much of a load on them this early was not meant to be the case.
Sure. Yeah, I like Dakari's upside a lot. I mean, he's certainly got the length. He's certainly got the fight in him. You can see when he's blocking. I mean, he's a vicious blocker, and that's something that was a very welcome sight for Clemson fans as the year went on. So, I mean, I can just imagine him going up for a jump ball that he's going to fight for it with everything he's got. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. And Bo's look good too. He obviously has the trust of DJ. DJ targets him more than anybody. But he's been real inconsistent this year with what he's caught and what he hasn't. I mean, he made that miraculous, miracle play we just had the other night. But then he'll drop one that when he's kind of wide open. I don't really get it. And yeah, again, it's freshman kind of stuff. I'm not worried about it. I think he'll be just fine. But he's going to have to improve on that for sure if he wants to take that role.
Eric Chapman, not sure why Clemson recruited a pocket passer as a QB when with the offense they run, they need a QB run for the offense to be effective, especially in the red zone read game. I mean, we've said this throughout the season. It doesn't seem like he necessarily fits the scheme that they're looking for, at least right now. I'll be honest with you. Somebody mentioned this on Twitter, and I agree. I think that DJ needs to drop 25 pounds. I mean, he could be closer to 260 than we want to think. And you cannot be 30 pounds heavier than the linebackers coming at you. I mean, there has to be a change in his. I know his dad is big guy. His uncles are all big. His brother's huge. I get it. He's a big dude, like just genetically big. But I mean, to Eric's point, you've got to be more agile and quicker on your feet than what we're seeing now. You know what I mean?
It wouldn't hurt. I mean, I don't think it would hurt him at all to lose a few pounds. But again, I think they want him to be. I think they want him to be like Taj Boyd. I think that's what they want. They want the battering ram when necessary because he's not ever gonna be a Watson. He's not that agile. He's just not going to be that guy. So I think their comp is Boyd. I think that's what they're looking for from him. He's certainly got the arm strength to be that guy. And he's going to have to. I mean, if he wants to lose a little bit of weight, give him a little bit more mobility, that's fine. But I don't know if that's really the issue. I think he's got other issues he's need to work out that are more important than that.
Agreed.
Looks like the chat's also getting in and agreeing with that. Exactly. Dabo said that they require a QB that can use his legs. Let's see. Bill Lanham says, I like the new wrinkles put in by Streeter last night. In other words, let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Streeter, he means. He's Streeter, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people got in here and agreed with Houston and said, just an average offense. I guess it goes back to what Dabo Swinney said. They were a gnat hair away from being undefeated. And I know I didn't agree with that a few weeks ago, but you guys corrected me on it. And really, statistically speaking, they were very close to. They were just a few plays. Maybe I wouldn't even say one handful, maybe two handfuls of plays that have been key plays this season that have caused Clemson to basically not be undefeated, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, you think about it. You have. I'm just calculating in my head. All right, 2, 3, about 6 plays between those 3 losses, where you would win an ugly game against Georgia, an ugly game against Cincy State, and you could have taken control of the Pitt game had you not done some dumb things in that game. And with the games that Clemson won this year, you're a gnat's hair away from those games not being as close as they were. I look at Georgia Tech with the turnovers, Syracuse with the drops, a fumbled punt and a goal line non-conversion against Louisville. And Florida State, same thing. You look at all these games, and Clemson could be a completely average offense and be in the playoff right now. And, we're just talking about, all right, we're going to have to rely on the defense. But it's just kind of where it is,
Well, fellas, we got 74 people watching right now. We got 15 likes. Make sure you get in and hit the like button over on Facebook or YouTube. That'll help us with our algorithm. We really need help with it. We can get seen by more Clemson Tiger fans if you just hit the like button. Al, I know you got, we're right at 8 o'clock. I don't want to keep anybody longer than we normally do our 1 hour. I do want to continue myself because we got so many people watching here. Al, I got one last question. If you want to jump out, you can jump out. Houston, you can stay on. If you want to jump out, you can jump out as well. I'll keep going for everybody in the chat until we get through all the questions. But Tyree Ross says on YouTube, what needs to change this next season to turn this around? I think it's interesting. We have to be careful with saying turn this around because it's a 10-win season.
Turn it around to what it was.
With a bowl win. So it's not an unsuccessful season, but it is an unsuccessful season. So I understand where Tyree Ross is coming from. Al, take it away.
It's really simple to me, and it's the offense. I know that's a pretty vague, a broad stroke there, but I'm talking everything in the offense. I'm talking no injuries on the offensive line so they can have some continuity. I'm talking about the receivers developing the relationship with DJ and the chemistry there. And that goes with DJ too. We've obviously DJ's got to take those steps, and we talked about that a lot this show, so I'm not going to regurgitate all that. But there's a lot of stuff DJ has to improve upon, and again, I think the play calling has to be better overall. I want to see him use the middle of the field. I want to see him scheme guys open, which other teams seem to be able to do. I thought they used the middle of the field 3 or 4 times in the game last night, and they were all catches except for the one Shipley dropped, and that wasn't a design play. That was a bust. But the ones they designed over the middle, the short slant routes or whatever it may be, just sitting in the zone, they completed them. Even got a big time first down to Sweeney in there, and they use it like 3 or 4 times. I was like, why didn't we use it 10 or 12? I don't get it. I don't understand. I think they need to do a little bit better job of that. But I mean, it's just the offense as a whole. Honestly, the running backs are there. We know what we've got with the running backs. I think the tight ends are there, but everything else, receiver, offensive line, DJ, play calling, all those things got to improve.
Do you like the double screen to one side to Shipley, one side to Will Sweeney? Did you like that or no?
The which one are we talking about?
There's they did a double screen on a 3rd down. DJ ended up taking a sack, but it was a screen one side to Shipley and then turned around screen another side to Will Sweeney, and he took a sack.
Sure.
I tweeted.
I'm okay. I'm okay with
the wrinkles.
I mean, at this point, you got to do something to mix it up a little bit. That's all right.
I didn't have a problem with that one as much, just because it was 3rd and 9, and they didn't want to do anything crazy. They didn't want to throw a pick. So let's see if we have a high percentage throw to each side. If not, just eat it. We'll punt it. That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
LeVar Young says, do you guys think DJ will have some outside help to get his footwork and play understanding better, or will Cade take over? I don't know if he needs outside help or not. I just think, going back to what we have said earlier, it seems like just having better competition should help. And I think Cade's going to give it to him for sure.
Sure.
Christopher Terry, I'm going to try to get in some YouTube people because we hadn't got them in. We're almost through all the chat here, but what was the reason for no passes downfield last night? Please don't say they went with what they were giving them, which we did say that already. Al just signed off. So Al, have a good night, buddy. We appreciate you getting in. Houston, it was frustrating for me. I felt like what happened is there were a couple of not so good passes that weren't put in the right spot, and then they decided what we're going to do is we're going to win this game by running the ball.
That's exactly it. And I mean, look, your offense has been hamstrung passing the ball all year. You got a chance to win a 10th game. Just get the dub. That's why. You're not going to put your chance of winning at risk. I mean, look, DJ's pick last night was a simple throw that was a terrible decision. So they essentially took that decision out of his hands. That's why they didn't go downfield.
I think so too. I think it's to the point where they start the game, they let DJ run through the called plays, and it's a day by day basis. I think if he does good, they continue to push what he can do that day, and if he continues to do bad, then. Or if he doesn't put it on, because even the announcers in multiple games have said, wow, he just should have thrown it to the other shoulder, or wow, he should have just thrown it over his head instead of right at him. It's all goes back to throwing it to where he's supposed to be. One of my friends asked me this morning, Houston, I'll see your thoughts on it. Do you think the game is too fast for DJ?
Potentially. I mean, it's hard to say that considering you've seen what he did in 2020. 2020.
I mean, yeah, he was successful. So where did that go?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it could be
400-yard games.
Well, look at the thing is you had 3 primary targets in those 2 games that he started in 2020 that knew where they were going and what they were doing. They were alpha dogs. You had Travis Etienne out of the backfield, Amari Rodgers, who was a senior, and Cornell Powell, who was a senior. Cornell Powell was looking to make money. Amari knew what he was doing, and Travis Etienne. So you take all 3 of those options away. You're starting a bunch of guys, one who's injured in Ross, and a bunch of other guys who haven't been asked to be alpha dogs this year, and he has confidence issues with that. So, I mean, that's part of the issue there.
Ghost Legit says DJ won't be at Clemson next year. I hope that that's not the case, because if that's the case, he hasn't improved. I don't want to see somebody, especially somebody that's a Clemson player, not improve. You know, I mean, I want to wish well on somebody who moved their entire livelihood from California to Clemson. I want to see him do well. He's invested in the university. This will be his junior year, ladies and gentlemen, junior year. So he's invested. I want him to do well, but on the flip side of it, I want Clemson to get back to challenging for playoffs as well. Clemson has a championship defense with an FCS level offense. I think it goes back to what Houston said. I know that sounds like that might be what you say as a frustrated fan, but that's really far from the truth. In the real sense is, like Houston mentioned, a few plays here and there, they could have been undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, FCS level offense, we beat the HBCU national champion 49-3. So just quit making dumb comments like that.
Well, just don't overreact, right?
Yeah,
Miami and Virginia Tech will probably look better in Coastal next year over UNC. Houston, what do you think? Miami's definitely the shining star right now, you know, because of the coaching hire.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Coastal is going to be trash all around next year. UNC, I don't see them improving. They're losing Sam Howell. Miami could be. They have some pieces to be good. They have a good coach. But, you know, unless he truly is a Nick Saban type, I think there's going to be some – they're going to have some games. They could win the league, that division next year, but I could also see them with some terrible losses on the way. Pitt getting Keaton Slovis, great, but what are they going to do for OC? VT, I don't like Brent Pry as a hire. Tony Elliott is going to be in flux next year. Duke's going to be in flux. That division could be maybe a couple of decent teams, but it could also be really bad next year.
Ghost Legit says, John, that's not saying much. The Tar Heels suck. So they've definitely fallen off, haven't they? I mean, I think literally everyone except – I don't know how you feel. I don't remember what your preseason thoughts were, Houston, but Mark Childress was literally the only person on the radio that said UNC was a fraud. I mean, most analyst professionals said UNC would be good.
I thought they would be 9-3. I didn't think they would. Like, I saw some people putting them in the playoff. I was like, no. I didn't see that, but I thought it was going to be Clemson and UNC in the ACC title game. And, I mean, especially with Sam Howell, I was like, that offense is going to be talented enough to get where they need to go. I just didn't realize they didn't have dependable receivers that they thought they had. They didn't have a running game as good. Even though they led the league in rushing this year, which was odd, it was not as dynamic as it was last year. It shows how bad the ACC was at running the ball this year. So I thought 9-3, but after that first week against Virginia Tech, I was like, they're gonna have a rough time with it.
Let's get back to Clemson talk here. Eric Simpkins gets in. I hope the redshirt freshman gets a legit shot to start. We need a true center, not a cross-trained center. He's talking about Ryan Linthicum. Indications for me worry me in that sense. I think that the fact that they were actively pursuing Olusegun Oluwatimi, a graduate offensive center from Virginia, and I think the fact that they were pursuing that worries me about his ability to start just yet. They obviously have some inclination that he's not going to be starting. And we're talking about Ryan Linthicum at center. I think a lot of fans want to see him because maybe they're tired of the guys that they've been seeing. But Rayburn has shown that he can hold his own. I think he did good this last game.
I mean, Rayburn has had some moments like the false start. He's not pitch perfect, but he's gotten better. Rayburn's been better as time has gone on. Now, if we want to talk about right guard, that's a position that I think they really need to address.
Anybody have an idea about what's going on with Mason Trotter? Seems like he's in the love shack or worse. I hadn't heard that. Have you heard that?
That's why he didn't play. Violation of team rules. Don't know. But if you're gonna be dumb, don't expect to like have that happen. Like if you're gonna break team rules, expect that kind of stuff to happen.
Rick Robertson, I know they have offered Jaheim Lawson. What do you think about him as a take? Rick, go check out our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Over on YouTube or on our Facebook page, there should be a video up. I did a specific video about Jaheim Lawson, looking at his senior year video. He's a hybrid guy right now. He's 6'4", 215, 220. So he is underweight. He is more of a basketball player playing defensive end, but he's super fast and he can get around the edge in high school. He would be somebody who would take some time to fill out like KJ Henry took some time to fill out. But he could be a hybrid guy more quickly than he could be a traditional defensive end. Clemson's going to want a defensive end to be heavier than 225. They want their linebackers to be 235, at least under Brent Venables. This is what the rules were. So Jaheim Lawson is good. He's very talented. He has raw skill. He's super fast, but he's extremely skinny for the position that he'd be recruited for. I mean, I don't want to say skinny. I just want to say like he's underweight. Are they still in the hunt for Arch Manning? Well, that's 2023. All indications are that they are still in the hunt. And by the way, Houston, I don't know if you saw this, but who sat right next to Dabo Swinney at the Las Vegas College Football Hall of Fame?
Would that be one of the Mannings?
Peyton Manning, by the way, sat next to him the entire event. So just saying.
Our guess is as good as anybody else's right now. I mean,
we know more than most. Don't act like we don't know things. We know things.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
We know things.
We know things. Yeah.
We're on the radio.
Yeah, we're on the radio.
We know things. Halo says, I put myself in the transfer portal, or if you don't want to use the transfer portal, I can come on as a walk-on. I know I can run and throw. Well, send us your film. Joe Ellenberg says, yeah, let's go Brandon. Streeter, that is. Brandon Streeter.
Yeah, totally.
Eric Chapman, they are also talking to a cornerback that has one offer from Charleston Southern, not ranked by any recruiting services. I haven't looked at
Miles
that.
Oliver. I know about this. And actually, I was questioning about that earlier, but I looked up some of his film, and it's one of these late risers. If you read what's out there, there's a kid that just the pandemic kind of screwed up his recruitment. He's a late bloomer. He's not been able to go to any camps or anything like that. So when you're not able to do that or get your name out there, you only get Charleston Southern as an offer. He's an athlete. He's someone that plays wide receiver, quarterback, corner, say the whole 9 yards. He's an athlete and he can play. And his coach has been saying he's a stud. He's a late bloomer. You can't see that. So this could be one of those pools. I'm not saying, I mean, look, the people that have also been writing would be like, hey, look, to say this guy could be an amazing player might be a little bit off, but at the same time, he could project to be someone like a Marcus Edmonds or a Ryan Carter, who is a late bloomer in college as well, comes in lower ranked and is able to build on that, and that could be what Miles Oliver is as well.
We should do some video on him. Don Cornett, Clemson just needs to take ownership of offering DJ a scholarship. He does not fit the mold. Boyd, Bryant, Lawrence, Watson. Well, Don, I do think that DJ needs to improve, but when you list Boyd, Bryant, Lawson, Watson, all four of those guys are completely different. So, Yeah. LeVar says, Joe, please get out of here with that crap. I know what he's talking about. Remember, we're all Tiger fans here, so let's be cordial. We might make jokes of certain things, but it's because we don't take anything serious. Jaheim Lawson is as quick as a cat and relentless pursuer. However, needs to get stronger and bigger. Yep. Everyone's saying that we're a couple of plays away from being undefeated. We're also a couple of plays away from being 7-6. Houston?
Yep. But here's the thing. You can't have one without the other, right? You can say, well, we're almost 7-6 too. Yeah, but we're almost undefeated. So that's you know, you
right.
got one with the other.
LeVar, I don't know what you're saying there. Big Mick, the O-line needs to execute. Wide receiver catch the ball. QB make better decision and throw better scheme. I mean, basically you're saying everything needs to improve on offense, and that is true. I like the double screen with the post option. I think he was talking about that double screen we were talking about. Eric says, can you explain the Putnam 15-yard penalty on the positive run play that stalled the drive? Also a bad call on McFadden for the push in the back. The guy was going low anyways, shaking my head. I mean, I didn't like the call on McFadden. The guy was kind of going around him, but he did kind of push down on him. The Putnam one, let me see if I can remember that one.
No, I remember exactly. It was at the end of the game. It got us to 2nd and 1, and then Putnam comes in, hits the
back. Yeah.
That was Putnam. Putnam's got a long way to go if he wants to stay on the field. That's all I gotta say. We're talking about DJ.
That was pretty stupid.
Yeah, you gotta talk about Putnam is gonna be one of the players with a target on his back, considering you got Pennington, Lee, different guys coming in next year. Putnam's got to step it up if he wants to keep being a starter. And as far as McFadden, I'll say this. Jake Brenningstool got away with the exact same block Jordan McFadden did just a few plays earlier.
That's true, yeah.
And so when I saw that called, I was like, what in the heck? And that's a huge loss. That play right there, Clemson had momentum, and I felt like Clemson was about to punch it in and take control of the game early on. So who knows what had happened. Yeah, and the score might have been like 27-13 as opposed to 20-13. But, you know, you take a 10-0, 17-0 lead going into a certain point, the game kind of feels different going into that final drive.
Robert Brown says defense has to maintain, offensive line has to be better for the playoffs, period. So a lot of people saying offensive line, not even so much the quarterback, really. I thought it was Blake says, I thought it was a pretty good season considering how many injuries they had, 10 wins. I'll take that in a heartbeat. Yeah, I mean, we kept saying we could potentially have 10 wins. They could potentially get to 10 wins. They actually did do it. So, you know, the fact that they did 10 wins is amazing, really. I mean, considering that EJ Williams was never healthy, that Frank Ladson was never healthy again, was never on the field so much that he transferred. Joe Ngata was never healthy. They never had a true slot wide receiver because they were never healthy. Everybody ragged on them for having Will Sweeney and Will Brown at slot receiver. They had nobody else. Justin Ross, they tried to put him in there. Then he wasn't healthy. They couldn't put him in there because that wasn't his traditional position, and he didn't work out there. They tried other guys. Then finally, after almost the whole entire season was over with, they finally found Bo Collins to fill that role, and he's still not a slot receiver. And, you know, they just kind of piecing it together from a wide receiver standpoint. And as Houston's mentioned multiple times, the offensive line was pieced together, is still being pieced together. And you know, they got to get guys in there that can be consistent and are also big boys, you know, that can actually push people around. I want to get some violence in there. I think Colin Sadler and Blake Miller and some of these guys that are coming up, Dietrich Pennington was a guy that Dabo Swinney thought would eventually become the starter and got injured for the entire season. Let's not forget about him. If he can stay healthy, he could be a force to be reckoned with next season. Big Mick, 335 is why you can't throw long unless you got a speedy receiver to make the cross underneath the safeties, which Houston, to his point, Big Mick is a good point there. Is there a speedy receiver on this team?
I mean, there is speed, but like everybody's been saying, everybody's been hurt. I think Will Taylor could have been that slot wide receiver, that speedy option.
I mean, I'm talking like a Jameson Williams speed.
Well, no, but I think you have some people coming into this next class, like an Antonio Williams, who could be that. Antonio Williams is fast. He's got to work it up a little bit. But I mean, you know, I feel like there's options on this team that could be a speedy guy that isn't healthy. EJ Williams could be a speedy guy, has COVID, gets hurt. Bo Collins could be a field stretcher. He's a freshman.
Troy Stellato, I don't know why he doesn't get any playing time, but
he's hurt. Well, he's been hurt. He's had COVID. He's not the right weight. Like when you have all those factors and not getting in, yeah, I mean, he could be that too. There's a lot of guys that just haven't had an opportunity to do it yet or coming up to have that opportunity. I think it'll be a different option next year.
Robert Brown says DJ will either get better or lose his position to Klubnik next year. Either way, it will be better. I just say we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see where this team is by Halloween 2022. John Sarian, it isn't a question of good or bad season. The discussion is how bad most aspects of the offense were this season has to be much improved. Big Mick, DJ is the Clemson starter. Klubnik is not ready for D1 start. He's definitely not. He can't start at 180 pounds if he's 180 pounds.
Yeah, he needs to gain weight. But, I mean, you can put 20 pounds on by spring.
Hope so.
Yeah.
I would have killed for a 10-win season when I was in school during the Bowden days. It seemed like that 9-win season was the ceiling back then, right?
Yeah, no.
Marcus says Klubnik will be ready game 4 to start. Halloween, Marcus. Halloween, baby. LeVar Young, I definitely think DJ has the potential, but when the play breaks down, he's just lost. So this is opposite of what another commenter said. He said he gets worse when the play breaks down. Some commenter said that, I can't remember who it was, they said he felt like he got better when the play broke down. I do believe the game is too fast for him. I was one of the fans that had faith in him up until this bowl game. You know, LeVar, I kind of agree with you in the sense that 13 games into it, man. 13 games. For me, that it's like, how much more of a resume do you need? Like, I don't know. It scares me because they had like a month off between these two games. They had a month off, still hitting on 3 cylinders, still winning games though. John Sarian, if DJ doesn't do well to keep his job after 1 or 4 more games, I don't think he'll have much luck in the portal. May need to set sights at the decent G5 program.
If you can't throw the ball at one of those, I don't know if there's going to be many G5 programs. It's either you need to fix it now or, you know, be a reliable backup.
And it's sad, though. I mean, you know, I want DJ to do well. We've seen glimpses of him. It just doesn't. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that he has a chance to. He still has the opportunity and a chance, and that's all you can ask for as a person is to get another opportunity. But as an elite program, we've said this a couple of weeks ago, Houston, Dabo Swinney and company, they can't wait around. They can't wait around for him to be a graduate player in his 4th attempt to try to do good. They've got to move on eventually if it doesn't get better, right? I mean, they just can't wait around and win, you know, only 10 games and go to the Cheez-It Bowl when you've built your team on trying to get to the national championship now. Blake Hunter, what do y'all think about Tristan Lee and his development? I haven't really heard much about him, but I'm assuming that he'll get a good shot this spring. We'll see what he can do in spring ball.
You just need to gain weight. I mean, you're not going to trot somebody out there right now that's underweight, especially right now, so he'll be fine.
Big Mick says, what I want to see from DJ is for him to make the pass read and be more confident in his passing. I think 80% of it is DJ's confidence. You know, I mean, I don't know what it is. It just seems like sometimes he's just not very confident in not only himself, but other players around him. You know, he's confident in Bo Collins, you know, but and he showed some good glimpses with Dakari Collins. But, you know, and there's the talking about the pass read, the play, the run pass option. There are times where I'm like screaming at the TV, keep the ball, DJ. You got a touchdown if you keep the ball. And then the one play he does keep the ball, he gets tackled behind the line. He still hasn't really figured out when to keep it, when to give it off. Majority of the time he gives the ball away, which then makes it null and void because nobody, you're not a threat. You're not even The defense doesn't even care about you. And it goes back to my comment about somebody said on Twitter, he should lose 25 pounds. I agree. If you're going to run this type of offense, you got to be faster. And, when I was 175 pounds, I was running sub 8-minute miles. Right now I'm 195. It's hard for me to run sub 9-minute miles right now. And that extra 20 pounds is a big deal. So John says Rayburn gets blown up too much for someone with his experience. Robert says Rayburn did fine. Putnam needs work. There goes Houston's comment. Lawson is a good take for linebacker. I don't know if I guess they do technically need a linebacker. So either
he'll be a DN.
I don't think he's coming in as a linebacker, but
yeah, he'll be a DN.
He just needs to get bigger and be a DN.
Yeah.
Tristan Lee will benefit with the O-line coach retirement. I don't know. Marcus, I don't really know. I think that everybody that I've talked to has said that Robbie Caldwell is a great coach and that, he's also a good recruiter, but, it's his time to move on and Thomas Austin's time, So I don't think there was any negativity there. I think everybody loved him, to be honest. I know a lot of fans don't love him, but Todd Teal, I love the video of players holding Wes up in the air during the celebration.
Yep.
I agree. That was a cool one. Let's see if there's any more. Kind of skip up. Steven says, quit complaining. 10-3. Just do like to say I like the 2-back formation on offense. I do like the 2-back formation. We've been begging for it. I mean, the pistol 2-back, I was not expecting that. Had a running back to his right and then a running back behind him. I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah. No, as I said, they're doing some coastal concepts. I would think that if we're going to roll with DJ, I think his best chance of success next year is doing more of that.
At AJ Lewis, I expect DJ to be way better in 2022. The 2 games DJ started his first year, the real DJ. DJ this year had a handful of things, not just DJ. I agree.
Yeah.
I think the whole entire team will improve. Hendon Hooker better than DJ.
Yeah,
I mean, statistically speaking, there are a lot of players better than DJ. I mean,
statistically speaking, but Hendon Hooker just lost to Purdue. Let that sink in.
And Hendon Hooker, I still remember Hendon Hooker
quitting
on his team, during our game with him, right? So, nice show tonight, guys. Thanks. Anthony Weeks gets in. What about the upside on offensive line next year? I think the offensive line is going to be a big upside, really. TB says, recruiting questions. Why don't sites rank by average per recruit? Seems like a no-brainer. Well, they do rank by – I don't guess they rank by that, but they do include that, and Clemson is a lot higher up if you include that.
Yeah, they just don't do it based on that. We would be a lot higher than a lot of people. I understand what he's saying.
Dabo needs to stop the Rudy belief. He feels that every wide receiver he brings in needs to look like either Mike Williams or exactly like Hunter Renfrow.
That's
I don't know.
True. How do you explain Amari Rogers, Artavis Scott, Antonio Williams?
I mean, it's just what happened this year,
Yeah, I know. That's
we good at running backs, but need 2 more good wideouts. Well, you got 2 coming in. So Anthony Williams and
Antonio Williams, dude.
And Antonio Williams. I said that on Twitter too. I'm such a bonehead with that. Antonio Williams and Adam Randall. I mean, especially Renfrow is 1 in a billion. I mean, he is almost the leading receiver for the history of the franchise of the Raiders. So he's literally in the record books next to Jerry Rice and Tim Brown on the Raiders. So 1 in a billion is not an understatement. Do we have good options coming in at right guard? It's bad, man. That's Houston. This guy,
Dedrick Pennington was going to be that.
Yeah.
He got hurt.
Clemson will get better with less injuries. What do y'all think? Yeah, give me the Osterine.
Yeah.
We need a true slot wide receiver. Yep. Antonio can fill that void. Yep. Sorry. Just with the insomnia, don't mean to blast out 10 wins works. Kim, with DJ not improving much at all, if any, Is there any reason to think that it's a coaching issue? No, I don't. I think the players play the games.
Mm-hmm.
DJ was confident in 2020 with Powell and Amari. Again, John, I agree with that. You got to have wide receivers that can get separation. And to be honest with you, he hasn't had that for the majority of the season. The guy's got to get away. I want to see him push people around.
Well, this is quality. I saw this coming down the pipe. Beef, best comment of the night. Man.
Can anyone spell Klubnik correctly?
Yes.
Why can't anyone spell Klubnik correctly?
I've been waiting for that the entire night, man. Beef, you're my dude, man. That's awesome.
Hunter Porth. Hopefully DJ will turn it around next year when he plays Georgia Tech in the season opener next year. I do. I think DJ has got a good I think this is a great learning experience for him. I think he's got an opportunity. All you need is another opportunity. You get another opportunity and but I don't beat up fans and I don't beat up us for talking about his shortcomings because we need something to talk about. DJ says DJ don't have good feel for the zone read. His head's always looking at the running back, not the coverage. Well, there's a lot of things he can improve on, and I'm sure he knows about it. Hunter says, hopefully DJ will turn it around. Oh, I already read that one. Hart says, what's the chance DJ hits the transfer portal with both the strong, young 4- or 5-star QBs behind him? I think it's a bad thing if he does, because then you've basically got a true freshman, Cade Klubnik, and that's it. You do have Hunter Helms and Billy Wiles, right? But I don't think it's the idea. You don't ever him leaving mid-season is not going to be good. Vince McClain, has anyone been able to see the game film from the end zone view? I'm asking because I'd like to see the routes by the receivers. They call that Houston. What do they call that? Is it all 22 or is it full 22? If you YouTube or search for full 22 or all 22, basically that means all 22 people on the field. And sometimes they release that on YouTube. But Vince, from what I'm finding, and Houston, you can let me know what you think about this, but I was talking to David Hood about this. A lot of the coaches just look at the replay from the broadcast to get their film because it takes so much time to get film from the other school when they request it. A lot of coaches just typically rely on some of the game film that we see.
No, I sometimes, but a lot of times you have different views. Clemson has their own video crew, and I don't think it's taking that long.
Yeah, but you think Clemson's going to forward that to Georgia Tech?
That's, back in the day when I was playing high school football, coaches would meet halfway to give each other the film. That's what you would do. And you laugh at that.
I don't know how they do it now. I'm sure there's some sort of digital portal for it. I don't know.
You just email it. You email the film to each other.
Just email me, but make sure you keep it under 25 megabytes or Google won't let you.
Yeah, something like that. It's not that hard to get game film to one
Dropbox it.
Yeah.
You have the 2-back, which worked okay, but man, it's because DJ seriously handicaps the OC. I think 2-backs is what you need for sure. Patrick gets in. I hadn't seen Patrick's name in here. Who cares about a 10-win season when you have built a team to win the national championship, especially when you struggle to win against a way inferior teams? This was a bust of a season. I feel that way. I don't think it's a complete bust.
Okay. No, I'm not. Don't give me this bust of a season garbage. That's a garbage comment, man. That's a garbage comment, dude. That's some Gamecock nonsense, man.
Whoa.
Dude, no, I'm saying that's a garbage comment, man. You want to say this season was a bust. Coach them up then. You want to talk about that? Coach them up.
There were a lot of things that you couldn't plan for, injuries.
You could not.
COVID.
Injuries. You couldn't plan.
Your quarterback regressing.
So if you think this is a bust of a season, I can tell you're 12 or 15 years old or something because you haven't experienced the Bowden or the West years. Okay, look, I get it. I love national championships like the next guy, but just let this play out and don't be look, this is a bust.
There's only been 3 teams ever to win 10 games 11 years in a row or more.
Yeah,
and so I don't think you can say that's a bust.
Yeah.
DM Law says Bryce Young is 170 pounds soaking wet. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Maybe he is a tiny dude. He's not a big guy.
He is 5'9", right? He's
Yeah,
6
not a big
foot.
guy.
He's 6 foot 194.
That's
6
not a
foot
big deal.
194. So to your point, DM Law, all Cade Klubnik needs to gain is about 14 pounds.
Yeah.
Hard to replace Hunter Renfrow every 4 years. That's true. Klubnik with a K. Hart Vaughn says, yes, it's all 22.
Mhm.
Gordon Gross says, DJ was locked on a receiver before the snap. Yep. Even Trevor Lawrence did that, to be honest. DJ says, Dabo saying we have 30 players out yesterday out of 85-man roster and only having 12 signed this year. Where do we make up the roster numbers? Well, currently the roster numbers, they're currently at about 75 out of their 85 scholarship players. So they need about 10 guys to fill in their 85. But I've said this many times, you don't need 85 players to be good. You need 22 players to be really good. You need 33 players to have two deep, or 44 players to have two deep. And you need 66 players to have three deep. Add in your special teamers, you need 70. Clemson has 75 scholarship players that they have actively recruited and landed. So this idea that you have to maximize your 85, to me, is wrong. I mean, that's three deep at every single position, 4 special teamers, and some of those positions are interchangeable. Wide receiver, interchangeable. Guard, interchangeable. Tackle, interchangeable. Tight end, interchangeable. Defensive line, interchangeable. So cornerbacks, interchange. You'd have 6 cornerbacks at that point. You'd have 6 safeties. You'd have 6 defensive tackles. To me, you don't need the full 85, but I can understand the frustration with the roster. James Merritt says, I think he's afraid of making a mistake in long passes. I do. I think the coaches are afraid of him making a mistake. But anyways. All right. So we're getting closer. We're bumping up to 840 now. We got about 79 people listening, watching live. We only have about 19 likes. So let me tell you about YouTube and Facebook and how it works. You have to hit the like button. That's how it works. So please be so ever grateful for our show and hit the like button so that you can be a part of our show and other Clemson fans can be a part of our show. Pretty, please hit the like button. Don't make me beg. Please hit the like button. I really don't like begging. Please hit the like button. Please hit the, really, to be honest with you, I will beg if I have to. Please hit the like button. All right. Hit the like button. Thank you so much. We got a ton of people hitting the like button. I appreciate it. And don't forget, if you want to be a part of our show, we try to do videos every single week. We try to do live shows every single week. Bill got mad at us last year because we stopped doing our live shows to do more recorded videos. So we don't know what we're going to do this year in the off season, but we're still going to bring content to you. So get in over on Facebook, The Morgan Thomas Show, over on YouTube, The Morgan Thomas Show, and especially Twitter. If you want to talk to me every single day throughout the day, Twitter is the place to be. At the Morgan T Show. Houston also, Twitter is the place to be for him. I can't stress this enough. Houston at Radio Guy Houston.
There you go.
Over on Twitter at Radio Guy Houston. I almost missed that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Stephen, John, Ernie, Amadou, Hart, James, DJ, Patrick, Hunter, Vince, Casey, John, Todd, Bill, John, Blake, Big Mick, LeVar, Joe, Tyree, literally everyone that came in tonight to be a part of the show. An hour and 40 minutes. The replay will be up. If you missed it, you came in late, it'll be up on our YouTube channel or over on Facebook as well. We appreciate you getting in and being a part of the show. This is the last show of the year. And as far as the radio goes, there's a ton of women's basketball games, so we will be doing this format for probably until March. To be honest with you, we will not be on the radio. We'll be doing this format because the games matter, and they'll be aired on the radio. So we won't be on the radio in that spot. They'll be taking our time slot. They do matter, Houston, and but we will continue to do this format. So we appreciate you getting in and being a part of the show, having your comments and liking our channel. We really appreciate it. And Houston, you got any final words for everybody?
I'll keep saying this until next year. Relax.
It may not have gone the way you thought it would go, but you probably didn't think that they would win 10 games with with all these types of issues compounded at the same time. It is a success. It is something to be excited about. And guess what? Today is day 1 of the 2022 season. So there is always something to look forward to when you're talking about college football. And as always, Tiger fans, thank you for being a part of the show. And we'll see you at the top of the hill.